The American safety net is about to be tested and about to become even more important than it ever has been. As we think about economic instability, whether it's from tariffs or trade or any number of other things.
Or AI,
right? And we think about changes to the employment markets and how people think about their jobs and careers. In America, we have a taxpayer-funded safety net that is intended to help people from going hungry, from not having health care, from not having a roof over their heads. And I think the safety net is kind of two parts. It's the funding, like the money behind it, which is controlled by policy, and that's what all the headlines generally tend to be about. And it's administration.
Yeah, which is totally overlooked.
Which is totally overlooked. Yeah. And so that's what we are trying to do as a company. Like, we want to be the tech company that modernizes administration of the safety net, that makes it so that the user experience of navigating any safety net program feels on par with navigating any modern consumer software app, like ordering on DoorDash or getting an Uber, right?
And what's like the total number of Americans that this describes?
Yeah, well, to talk just about the food stamp program, 42 million Americans in 22 million households. The 42 million includes children and families and so on. So we're talking about roughly 1 in 8 people in the United States is currently receiving SNAP benefits, which is more commonly known as food stamps. They get their benefits on an EBT card, which is this debit card that kind of looks like any other credit or debit card that you might receive.
Yeah.
But as an example, the kind of like mundane detail that was just kind of a software problem. When we talk to people with EBT cards, one of the things we learned is that most people check their EBT balance by calling this 1-800 number on the back of the card. And so, being a techie, being kind of naive about it, I was like, well, why isn't there a mobile banking app for the EBT card? That's how I would check my balance on my, bank balance or my credit card.
It might not be that easy for you to call this number, depending upon, if you were working a shift or whatnot.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's not the
modern way to do it.
It's a small piece of friction. But
I
mean, one of the things we started thinking about was this is the lived experience of America's safety net. It's like a death by 1,000 cuts. Like, everything is a little bit more annoying than it should be.
Yeah.
The things load a little slower. It's like you have to call this number instead of using a modern app. It's like each of the individual details might not feel like the thing that is like causing poverty in this country or anything like that. But I think in the aggregate, when you think about these 1,000 cuts, like every little inconvenience, it's the kind of stuff that I think really does like have an added impact on low income families. It creates mental load, makes it just another thing you have to think and worry about. And it struck me that like that's one of the things that is different between like how a low income family might spend their time versus a medium or high income family. Just like by definition, the social safety net in the United States is generally available to people who are lower income, but not to people that are middle or high income. And so people talk about, the common complaint is like, hey, the DMV like sucks to stand in line and use the website and things like that. But people of all economic spectrums have to use the DMV, right? Only people that are low income know what it's like to apply for the food stamp program or to navigate Medicaid. And it struck me that this is like a whole category of user experiences in software that are pretty invisible to the people who work in tech because they've never had to, by and large, they haven't had to experience them themselves. But it also seemed like an incredibly important part of the internet, right? The software that you use
tens of millions of people every day
to put food on the table for yourself or to get healthcare, to get housing, that seems like some of the most important software on the internet. It like really needs to work really well. And so that led me down the path of like, let me try it myself. Let me go apply for food stamp benefits myself. Let me like.
And I'm sure you found it was a breeze and nothing to see here. And you're like, oh, no problem to be solved.
Yeah, not quite, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, that was a nightmare.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, but like, it's not that it was just a nightmare. It was like, it was a nightmare that gave me some optimism, right? Because a lot of the things that could be solved were just like very practical issues that were, in tech, we would call them solved problems, right? You don't have to like invent some new AI frontier model to solve these things. It's like, we just need to make this website work on a smartphone, or we just need to like reduce the number of fields on this form and make it so that like the button is clickable by you. Right? Things like in a very basic sense, like the types of things that I learned in college around like user experience design and how to design around the needs of individuals. That was sort of the premise for Propel, is like, could we build a technology company whose DNA was truly a technology company that hired people who had worked at other major consumer tech companies and had kind of that tech skill set, but who really, really wanted to apply that skill set to the specific needs of low income people who navigate the safety net.
Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. Please do hit like and subscribe and hit that bell if you want to be notified every time a new episode drops. Thank you.